Greetings, recording, live stream, but doing this for YouTube too. So, what is this? Mira, Jai, tea with Mummy, with Mrs. Munira Gulzar on January 2nd, 1991. Krishna's Janamashtami is coming. Janamashtami. Sorry if I mispronounced it. I have a slight cough. So I'm trying to make out, because during my separation with Miss Asteria Desa, I had these psychological problems, neurosis, and I would think twice before getting married, and yet some emotional, if I fell in love, then I would not question it. But at times some things came in my mind, like, what if, because in the past I had a crush, childhood. I thought it was love or something. And what if I get married to the wrong person? Or what if I don't like, little things like their food or the tea? So this is about tea. And I would think, I'm shy. Like, you go to the husband's house, and what if you're with the whole family, and sometimes you don't like that tea? Small things used to bother me now about life. So sometimes, these psychological way of thinking, microscopic, like, oh my God, I can't stand being here. What if I can't stand the tea, can't stand this? What if I get fed up? Although when you love someone, you don't get fed up. But now, being away from someone I loved so much, adored, things were coming up like tea, for example. What if my husband, how would I know that my husband was not a child molester or wasn't a bad person, man? Yeah, we can, like, sometimes if I would think that putting someone I loved before not being the right person for me, or having such tendencies as being a snob, right? And a bad person. So my children, my children's bloodline should be good. What if they become insane? So these kind of fears and all came to my mind, and I became very choosy at times. Oh, very like this. And if I take a kettle, make my own tea, would my in-laws feel bad about it if I didn't like their house tea, and I'm shy and this and that? So what happened is, later on, God is... and yeah, my tea was very special. Like, I used to go in Karachi out of my way to get carnation, evaporated milk. So this is about Mira and Radha. At that time, I didn't know Mrs. Munira Gulzar was Mira. I didn't know that I was Radha Rani and that God had brought her. So her sons' names, all of them started with a Z, Z, like if American way, or like my name, Zara. So Mrs. Munira Gulzar, God was giving her a sign. God was giving me a sign there. But I would just, like be overwhelmed and not speak to her about it much or discuss. Oh my God, you said this. And Mommy, I was thinking before you came, like I wouldn't, what Professor Moyes told me. I went to Professor Moyes in 1987, 88. 88, I think, most probably, because therapy was not working on me. I was in therapy for 5 years, 6 years, like that. 5 years had gone by, and I found an institute, yoga institute. I went there, and what happened is, he told me that he cannot hypnotize me. I said, please hypnotize me. He said, no, you'll be disorientated. So he couldn't. He said, go and first, try to. You're a very intense person. I cannot hypnotize you. And there's reincarnation, I suspect. He checked my middle finger, made me think of Miss Desa. He had something like on the tip of my middle finger. And he told me, yes, it's reincarnation. Then he changed it to obsession with Miss Desa. Anyhow, that was later when I went to him again for a talk session, not yoga session. So he told me that he cannot hypnotize me, not even take the risk, not even my own word, that you do it, whatever happens to me, I can sign that I'm responsible for it. But he said, no, he cannot do that. So he asked me to go in the garden and do gardening. And I said, no, I can't do that. I would go in the garden. And now it was like 1989. In my new house, I remember, I would look at a leaf, it would fall, and I would be crying inside, feeling depressed that the leaf has left its plant, or another leaf. Sometimes I had these severe bouts of grief. Why has the leaf separated from another leaf and its branch or the stem? So I told him, no, I cannot do gardening. Then it was getting too much for me. Then in 1989, September 27th, I joined I joined St. Joseph's College, met Mrs. Munira Gulzar for admissions, and then later on got close to her somehow, with God's help and assurance by Bibi Mariam, my guardian, intercessor. I chose her in 1990. She gave me a miracle of a lifetime. So I got over Miss Desa, or thought I had, and asked God to help me and found this angel. You know, like that song, uh, hey, I looked all my life for you. Linda Ronstadt and Aaron Neville. Now you're here. Things were happening. I was having miracles. I was seeing miracles, getting miracles. And the biggest miracle was to let go of Miss Tessa and not worry about feeling empty, the future, or her, her anything much. But that I needed her forgiveness. And maybe we could talk, but we couldn't talk. So, or a reconciliation, but she refused. Anyhow, so this tea thing, and you know how neurotic when you in that mental, you're too much in the mind, and because people told me to use my mind and not be impulsive, and so a therapist also, and a priest also, Father Augustine. I was doing that adult child parenting, I'm okay, you're okay book that I had read before, so I knew what Father Augustine was getting at. He was doing my counseling therapy. He had come from America with a counseling certificate. Okay, and so then what happened is in 1990, I started to go to Mrs. Munira Gulzar's house. Then she allowed me for the walks. Then I would stay in her house for a little while or so. After the walk, 45 minutes or something, and going in the kitchen, seeing that they're boiling milk, powder milk. I asked them, they said it's powder, and we boil it and all, and they stir it and keep going in the kitchen and all this. And in 1991, January 2nd, she offered me tea when I went to invite her for my friend's friend, best friend, Romina. She was also in St. Joseph's College before I joined St. Joseph's College. So Romina was getting married and her wedding dates changed. So she told me, can you quickly go and give this card with changed dates to Mrs. Munira Gulzar. So I said, okay, yes, I will go. I had to go that night and not in the morning, give it to her in St. Joseph's College. So I went with Rumina's wedding card. And I was told before that they pray and all this, right? So better to go after Maghrib prayers. Anyhow, I reached there and she called me inside where she was sitting, and then she was having tea, so she offered Miss Fawzia Fikri, her niece, made tea for me. I remember all the details and all, and I really enjoyed this tea because they also put cardamom in it, elaichi, crushed, and the milk also, like it was delicious, this tea, right? So I came home and I didn't tell her because unlike my mother, I was inside. I would pray inside for people, but I wouldn't tell them on their faces, like, God bless you and give you so much, so much, so much, and this and that. So I wouldn't thank my friends on the face. Even, like, I'd be so touched that I wouldn't be able to say anything. The deeper I get touched, the more silent I wouldn't thank them. So they thought some of them were like, "You're not thanking us." I said, "Oh no, I just someone pointed this out to me." So what happened is I came home and I wrote in my diary a prayer for them, and may Mrs. Munira Gulzar reach unknown heights. I don't know why I wrote this. Mrs. Munira, unknown heights, and lots of blessings for her family and her forever. And this, like Mehraj tak pahunch jaye, or Mehraj se upar jaye. May she reach above anything. Muradein puri saje har tamanna. Mohabbat ki duniya ke tum jaan panna. And Indian songs I was reminded of Indian songs and took out my mother's old cassettes, which she had kept from the old house. And Walkman had come, so listening to them in college. But the point here is that this tea, this evaporated milk that I used to go after. So in Agha's supermarket or Delton supermarket, or when I was in my old house, I would have to go all the way to Clifton or Sadar. I've forgotten where I had to go. Maybe Empress Supermarket to find condensed, if not evaporated milk, then condensed milk, Black Cow, and God knows what. Delton Supermarket for this. So I had my specialty for a long time, and I wouldn't use fresh milk in my tea. And so if you've seen Ram or Sham, the Indian movie, Dilip Kumar tells Wahida Rahmanji that not to offer him tea. If he drinks this tea, then he will get high. He will be intoxicated. Whenever he drinks tea, this happens to him. So I could never imagine that I would find a house and I'm going there and I know they're boiling this powdered milk. Yet it's not hitting me that this is the way you make evaporated milk at home. So, all those worrying days, scrutinizing, will I get a good husband? What if he's in the past, so many dark sides to people? What if he's been a child molester? Ooh. So, like that. Yes. Very worried of human ignorance. You know how human beings can hide and we can fall in love with the wrong person and regret it for the rest of our lives. So this tea, God signs came, but we did not take it very seriously. I didn't want to impose myself on them too strongly. So Villette, Charlotte Bronte, oh Lord, her prayer that she may, let me not go too much to these waters which are welcoming. I'm not saying it word by word. It's just trying to remember in the book Villette, Charlotte Bronte. Okay, so there are many miracles with Mrs. Munira Gulzar. And this tea thing has come up. And that day I saw a lady, dark, symmetrical face. In I didn't know at that time whose room that was, a small room. she was saying her prayers. She just looked at me and she didn't smile. And I was about to smile at her, but she didn't smile, so I was like, and then she looked down and she was looking for something, or I thought maybe she's finished her prayers now. But how can she have a tasbih? Because, the Sunnis don't. So I've had my house there and I know which way is the Qibla direction. And it was that way because I've had a house there. So she had the right Qibla, and how could she go for a rosary when there is no rosary in Sunni Muslim prayer? Only we do Bibi Fatima Zahra's. Only we recite the rosary after, and it's not necessary, but it is good. It is not compulsory. So only we recite the rosary after. So maybe she was doing this, wrapping up her musalla prayer mat, Janamaz. So I was looking for this lady and I thought she was a Fikri family until I saw, and then I thought it was Anita, my friend in London, reincarnated. Maybe she was a Fikri. Then when Paramahamsa Vishwananda, I got connected and he's sitting on the, cushion, right? This mattress or cushion on it, on the floor. Then slowly, I started to, do you remember this lady, like, on 2nd January 1991, that you haven't seen, because I saw all their sisters. I saw the eldest sister, Hafsa, Auntie Hafsa. She didn't look like that dark lady. I asked Mrs. Munira Gulzar in year 2011 when I went to their place, or 10, or year 2010 or 11. Do you have a dark lady who has a symmetrical face, straight nose, and I didn't tell her this, but I felt that when she was sitting on the prayer mat, she had a middle parting. But how could it be that I saw her her hair when they put cover it with a scarf? So that was really funny, strange. I remember I saw her because I remember the reality that I remember Miss Fawzia Fikri first came as I went in their house, and she called out to her aunt. She said, "Amy, your Zahra is here." And you know that somewhere in time they have this hall and they have a picture on the wall, black and white. Never went to see that picture until I went much later. I asked Mrs. Munira Gulzar if I could see the picture. So she took me there to tell me who was there on the wall. I wanted to see her mother, if I'm her reincarnated mother. Anyhow, so this lady there in Hani's room, later on I found out that the small room was Hani's, and she was sitting in the dark. So this time Paramahamsa Vishwananda told me that it was I, as a woman. Because you see, now I know, yeah, it is him. He keeps mostly a middle parting, and he's, that lady was dark. I asked Mrs. Munira Gulzar, she said, no, there's no one as dark. No one, no, like there's Fafa, but Fafa is dark, But it wasn't even Fafa. So her cousin Fafa, Mrs. Munira Gulzar's cousin. So why didn't like Paramahamsa Vishwananda came that day? However, like I'm listening to Jiddu Krishnamurti, he says that God, we invented God. Human beings have invented God. Anyhow, so I want more evidence that God exists from Paramahamsa Vishwananda. But I'm not getting much evidence. Only these kind of broken here and there things and miracles. And yes, I can believe that Paramahamsa Vishwananda, can change. But I, as Radharani, don't have that power to change myself and go to another place, be in Vrindavan at the same time here, on will, change myself and go there. Or maybe even, okay, there's a force that's stopped me from saying this. So, these Hindus, do you see this? So I'm trying to figure this out at the same time. Sometimes I say that God, there's no evidence of God. And did we create God? Recently, Paramahamsa Vishwananda was saying, these people who say we are doing mental gymnastics, this with these, well, he had Srimad Bhagavatam from there or he was explaining some Hindu scripture. It was on Facebook as a story, not on video or live stream. So I'm kind of confused here. Let's see. So recently, मैं हूँ साकी, तू है शराबी शराबी. Ram or Sham song from a movie Ram or Sham, Indian movie. So I'm going to end here. Let's see which one I do first, the YouTube or the live stream. So let's see. आगे आगे देखिए होता है क्या. I cannot avoid these miracles and phenomenons. Sorry, I shouldn't put an S there, okay? My English is terrible. I'm not in practice with this. I hardly read books and all. So this on YouTube will be a reminder. Let's see what God and the earthquake. Ooh, and so many miracles. With Mira, Mrs. Munira Gulzar. And I'm Radha Rani. I've had many other signs and all, but that I've already spoken of on Facebook live streams. So sorry, I'm not going to mention it here now. I'm kind of tired, so I'll be coming in piecemeals. So many years God has not been able to save human beings. But now for Radharani, oh God. You see, there's a kirtan this one. So as the Hindus are celebrating, will be happen Krishna's birthday. This is a reminder of whoever is interested. There's no force because force should not be applied. Uh, that there's Paramahamsa Vishwananda's. So he came like he changed himself in he knows. I've been telling God take care of my mummy, and now you come Kirtan life, Bhakti Marga, Girdari Ashtaka. So why am I enjoying this much? Because I wanted my principal, wanted God to take care of her. So much has happened. I've troubled them. So here in this kirtan, there's a line. They give translations. They worked hard, you see. And here he says, I mean, this is about Mira, that, you know, Girdari. She worshipped Girdari in the past. In the present, she's Muslim, Sunni Muslim. I hope by now I've made her an ex-Muslim. So where's the English translation here? Serve the lotus feet of Sri Girdari Lala, who was worshipped by Mirabai in the past. Yeah, surely he was worshipped by Mirabai in the past. But also now Mira is a Muslim, born a Muslim into a Muslim family she was born. Okay, now Bhakti Marga is live now. I have to go. It's Janmashtami, Krishna's. And then here it says that for love, see, Paramahamsa, this master, will go, whose lotus heart happily wanders to various countries. Serve the lotus feet of Sri Girdhari Lala, who was worshipped by Mirabai in the past, whose lotus heart is captivated by Swami Vishwananda, whose lotus heart is captivated by Swami Vishwananda, and who happily wanders in various countries of the world while destroying the sins of the people who come to have his darshan. Okay, so you have to believe in him. You have to go to have his darshan so that your sins, not those people sitting out somewhere, you know, but you really have to know him so that your sins can be forgiven just with one darshan. So that Mira and Radha's separation in this life also, that our purpose is fulfilled, that whichever enemy wanted us to remain separate and go insane, at least our sacrifices, our helplessness, our suffering is not in vain. So please go to the Lord, get his darshan. So easy, God has made it. Don't miss this opportunity once in a lifetime. It comes. Okay, thank you so much.